Hey, good evening. I guess I have a one participant here. So let's some more guys join, and then we will start and we will discuss on some of the basics of hydroponics, which is, according to me, is going to be means everybody need to know that before venturing in hydroponics. People must know that what is the basics and why we want to do hydroponics. What are those kind of requirement for hydroponics and where to do hydroponics, how to do hydroponics. So all these things we need to understand. So I'll just come back in few minutes, maybe another 5 minutes. So if the people will be there, then I'll continue. Otherwise, yeah, definitely I'm going to share my thoughts. So just few minutes. Allow us for 2 3 minutes. We are going to come back. Thank you. Okay. So very good evening to my lovely people who are enthusiasts on hydroponics. Yeah, hydroponics. Why we want to go for a hydroponics, and what is the basic knowledge one need to have once they are even thinking for hydroponics. So let's try to understand the first thing: why hydroponics and what is hydroponics. If I talk about why, if we see the Indian agriculture is basically divided into, means, a traditional farming and the urban farming. So gradually this urban farming is gaining popularity in the areas where people are really looking for healthy produce. So time is not far when the segmentation will be very clear, and there will be a segment which is going to be called as urban farming, and it is going to supply majorly the greens. If इन सिटीज, और अगर हम शहर की बात करें तो शहर में इवन लोगों का एक ट्रांजिशन शुरू हुआ है, और वो ट्रांजिशन जो है ग्रीन से ग्रीन की तरफ हुआ है. If we go to doctor and any kind of a medical people, they are emphasizing to have more of greens, and urban farming, which include the hydroponic, is going to supply somehow more of the green, and that too is healthy green. Means the consumer, the person who is going to have that unit or the production, they can say that yes, it is 100% assured quality produce. और दूसरी तरफ अगर हम देखें तो दूसरी तरफ ट्रेडिशनल फार्मिंग है जो कि हमारा किसान कर रहा है, एंड द फार्मर इज वेरी वेरी aggressive, I should say, and he is the best person who can do that traditional farming, and he is focusing on the production of a grain. So if we see, these are the two segments of agriculture which in future are never going to compete with each other. So if there is a no competition, it's mean they are going to become enabler with each other, and that's the place hydroponic is going to play a crucial role. The second basic thing which everybody must know, that what is hydroponics. So agar hum baat kare what is hydroponics, everybody knows very well that the soilless farming is known as hydroponics. खेती बिना मिट्टी की इज नोन एज हाइड्रोपोनिक्स। मगर कहानी उससे बियॉन्ड है। द नॉलेज इज बियॉन्ड दैट। इफ वी सी हाइड्रोपोनिक इज ओनली रिलेटेड टू योर रूट, एंड it is indirectly related to your shoot also, but majorly it is related to root. So if we see, like, technically, hydroponic is nothing but creating a better microclimate around the root zone is hydroponics. मतलब अगर आप देखें तो जड़ के आसपास के वातावरण को अच्छे तरीके से या आइडियल बनाने की जो टेक्निक है, दैट इज नोन एज हाइड्रोपोनिक्स। और अगर जड़ अच्छी है, जड़ हेल्दी है, तो पौधा बाय डिफॉल्ट हेल्दी होने वाला है, और दैट इज द टेक्नोलॉजी विच इज हाइड्रोपोनिक्स, एंड this is the technique which gives freedom, which gives control to the growers. Means जो ग्रोवर है उसके पास 100% कंट्रोल होता है। और अगर हम जड़ के आसपास के वातावरण की बात करें तो वो जड़ के आसपास के वातावरण में सही मात्रा में पानी, मीन्स the quantity or the optimal level of a moisture, and the second is optimum level of a nutrition, and optimal level of our means specifically the air, but if we go specific, the oxygen content and the temperature. And whoever as a grower is maintaining these things in the favor of your crop, then it is sure that you are going to get better return, better crop health, and yes, better quality too. अब आगे अगर हम बात करें कि भाई हाइड्रोपोनिक्स की बातें तो बहुत हो रही हैं, बट इसका जो कमर्शियल मॉडल है अभी भी स्टैब्लिश नहीं हो पा रहा है। एंड व्हाट आर दोस challenges people are facing in hydroponics? So उसमें the basic challenge people are facing is how to grow a crop. But if we see what is something called as growing, what is this hydroponic technique में जो success के enablers होते हैं वो क्या है? What are those enablers which ensure the success of hydroponics? Are the hardware and the software. If I'm talking about the hardware and software, it doesn't mean that the IT hardware and software. Hardware means all the infrastructure related things comes under hardware. So if we talk about, maybe it is greenhouse, maybe it is growing system, maybe it is kind of a fertigation system, fogging system, irrigation system, and cooling system. This all comes under a hardware which contributes around 20% in the success of hydroponic projects. So question comes, rest 80% comes from where? So rest 80% of the success comes from the software. If we talk about the software is what? Software is how to grow your crop. In this, all the growing knowledge starting from the identification of a crop. So means what, which crop, which variety, when to plant, when to transplant, what is the irrigation schedule, what is the plant nutrition ratio or a nutrient ratio, when to go for harvesting, what are those plant protection measures we need to undertake, when there is a need for maintaining a specific temperature, and how we should maintain the desired temperature of that particular crop. So all these factors comes under a software, and the software is contributing 80% in any hydroponic project success. And that is the reason in India, majorly people are struggling in hydroponic projects, and they are facing challenges in ensuring the success. एक सवाल और भी बहुत लोगों ने पूछा है, और कई बार इस तरीके के सवाल आते हैं कि सब, what are those crops we can grow under hydroponics? So believe me, you can grow any crop in hydroponic provided you have the crop production protocol ready. Crop production protocol means how to grow your crop. If you go back, what we talk about, hydroponic is a technique to create an ideal or a better microclimate around the root zone. And if this is hydroponics, then creating an ideal microclimate or a better microclimate around the root zone for any crop is possible. And if that is possible, then definitely any crop can be grown in hydroponics. Though, if we see, like, very few crops are well established in hydroponics. Like, if we talk about 80 to 90% of this total crop grown in hydroponics are the cucumber, the capsicum, the tomatoes, and some of them are also growing the strawberries. So question comes in mind, how can I grow any crop? So we need to study that what is the requirement of that particular crop. Say for example, I'm even want to share the knowledge that okay, you can even grow orchard crop like mango, guava, berries, or anything. But the whole growing system is going to be different. If we are growing strawberry, the growing system is going to be different. If we are going to grow mango tree, then the growing system as well as the growing technique, the growing management is going to be different. But yes, in a nutshell, we can say we can grow any crop in hydroponics. So that's the bottom line. So let's try to understand one more thing, which is generally people are asking that suppose I want to start my venture in hydroponics. So what are those basic kind of a knowledge or basic information I need to have before venturing in hydroponics? So let's discuss a little more on that part. So one thing which I feel like in hydroponic industry people are making mistake is they start their project with the concept that okay, I should grow this crop because I've seen that crop growing nicely in Europe or some other part of developed countries. So that project premises start from there. But according to me, the project should start from identifying your market, and from market identifying your crop, that okay, these are the crops which can fetch me better value, better premium. So at the beginning, if anybody wants to venture in hydroponic in a large scale like commercial scale, or anybody wants to go for growing for their home purpose or maybe hobby garden, The first step need to be identify your crop, because based on your crop, you need to identify the right growing system. I've seen many of the projects where the basic infrastructure is wrong. People have built the structure which is not fitting for the targeted crop. For example, in commercial growing, specifically in India, there are some projects which have a A-frame for growing their leafy vegetables. But believe me, friends, this A-frame is really good for hobby gardeners and maybe for home gardeners. But if we talk about growing on a commercial scale, A-frame is not the right structure for growing your crop. So one need to understand that, okay, if I'm going for a commercial project, so what is the ideal growing system? Even I've seen many a video on YouTube where people are growing the vine crop like tomatoes, cucumber, and other crops in Dutch bucket, in NFT. But believe me, this is not the right growing system. So let's little talk about how you should identify your growing system. So if we categorize, if we classify, there are two sets of crops we can categorize very easily. One, which are a long duration crops. If I'm talking about the long duration crop, the crops which is life cycle is more than 4 to 6 years, months, sorry, not years, the month, 4 to 6 months. So all these crops, if I give you names, so cucumber, capsicum, tomatoes, so all these crops are a long duration crop. And if we talk about in these crops, the total leaf area is higher. And you know, the root area and the leaf area is always associated with each other. If the leaf area is higher, then the root mass, root volume is going to be higher. And you know, root, they are performing respiration. Like the green leaves, they are performing respiration as well as the transpiration. So they are utilizing the food as well as they are manufacturing the food. So photosynthesis and respiration in leaf, they go together. But in root, only the respiration is happening, and for the respiration, everybody knows that oxygen is required. And as the volume of root is higher in vine crops, then the requirement of oxygen is also higher. And if that is higher, the dissolved oxygen in only water, nutrient water, like if you're planting your crop or tomato, cucumber, or anything in NFT or DWC, then that oxygen is not sufficient for meeting the requirement of roots respiration oxygen need. And because of that, initially your plants, they perform good in these system also, but later on, when the roots requirement for oxygen increases, they start struggling. And I'm sure those who have already experienced the type of system, they may have experienced the same pattern. First, the plant will start performing good, but later, when the oxygen requirement of the root increases, they will start struggling. That's how any kind of vine or a long duration crop need to be grown in soilless hydroponics. Why? Because in soilless hydroponics, when we are using any kind of a growing media in it, the pores the trapped oxygen in this growing media is always, the volume of total volume of trapped oxygen in this growing media is always higher, and that's how these crops perform better in soilless hydroponics. But if we talk about kind of leafy vegetables or a short duration vegetables, they are doing good in only nutrient solution or a water kind of a growing system, which is NFT, DWC, and even these crops, because their requirement of oxygen for the root respiration is always lower. So these crops are performing better in any of these systems. But it is always advisable to go for NFT or DWC. And now, if we talk about how DWC and NFT, it depends on the climatic factors. So, friends, if we talk about these hydroponic ventures, it looks very simple from outside, but the moment we enter in this, then we start realizing it is little complicated kind of a system. But what is happening, most of the guys who are venturing in this hydroponic industry, they are kind of a capitalist, or they have some surplus fund, and that's how they want to venture in this area. And they are creating state of art, even a state of art kind of a growing system, the infrastructure, and they are putting all the money, means wherever the budget is required, they are putting all the money for creating that nice infrastructure. But when it comes to putting a resource, human resource, or the guy who is going to manage the farm, then they start doing something kind of budget compromise, and they get the people who are going to handle these kind of projects. They are from the traditional farming background, and basically what happened, they start working with their limited knowledge, and they are not even able to utilize the state of art kind of a facility, and that's how most of the projects start studying. So a suggestion for anybody who want to go for a commercial farming, put your budget, good budget for the human resource, for the agronomist. And you also have to see that you should get a good guy kind of a person who can handle efficient. So the basic requirement for putting a human resource need to be, the person need to be proactive. Yes, I agree that most of the projects, they are not in a position to bear the cost of a senior kind of a professional in hydroponics, so it's okay. But you need to have a person who can handle your project efficiently with the guidance of these kind of skilled professionals who are gain the knowledge while doing. Because I've not shared my introduction in the beginning, but believe me, I started my journey of hydroponics from the point when I was not aware the literal meaning of hydroponics. Honestly speaking, I was not aware the literal meaning of hydroponics, but I started with my vision, with my ability to gather knowledge. I managed to at least learn, because the basics are same. The basics of farming in traditional farming and hydroponic is same. The only thing is you need to be a very very active, and just something using your common sense, but always be in the field. Take as many round you can take in during the day to your crop area, and try to build a skill talking to the plants. If I'm talking about the talking to the plant, it doesn't mean that you literally talk to them. But the moment you enter in your greenhouse, or in the growing area, you should be able to identify whether the plants are happy or they are struggling. And if they are struggling, then you need to do something. So that's how I'm saying again, those who want to initiate or start any kind of hydroponic project, they need to at least start with identifying right resource. And if you put a right resource, then definitely you are going to ensure success of your hydroponics. And if we talk about the future of this, then definitely the future is, to an extent, I can say that going forward, more and more people are going to concentrate or going to live in urban societies, in urban area, and urban area expansion is going to happen. And if the urban area expansion is happening, then yes, these urban population, they are looking for the option to ensure a healthy food supply. And if we talk about this kind of a home gardening in hydroponics, so those who are elderly, they will get a quality engagement. They can just something like utilize their time for managing the crop, managing the system. For the young generation, they at least get the knowledge that, oh, how the crop grows and how tomato fruiting is happening, whether it is on the plant or underground or how. And for those who are working professional, they will ensure at least getting some kind of a quality produce. So, with those kind of a basic understanding on hydroponics, I would like to stop here now, because this is my first session on this live streaming, and I would definitely would love to share my knowledge, which acquired out of this uh, coming 10, means almost a decade of my hands-on learning. So, yeah, friends, I would be happy to share the knowledge and always available for any of these kind of knowledge who are looking for venture in hydroponics, and I would happy to support them. So maybe next time what we can talk about, what are those different types of hydroponic growing system and how one can utilize, and what are those selection criterias, and what are those basics of hydroponics which you need to consider before venturing in hydroponic industry or as a hobby gardener. So thank you very much for listening me, and thanks for giving me an your time, valuable time. So let's start talking more on this concept and ensure that every household is having some unit of hydroponics by which they can get a healthy produce out of their own balcony and out of their own effort. So thank you very much. Enjoy your evening. We'll meet again and we'll discuss on some other topics on hydroponics. Thank you. So till then, give permission to log off to the Kheti Badiwala, Dr. Praveen Singh. Thank you very much.